Every month in the Hebrew calendar is connected with this particular type of energy, a particular consciousness that's related to the seasonal period of the month, and on a deeper level, the spiritual quality of the month. So we want to unpack a little bit, what is the month of Adar? What is this special month of when we say, Mishenichnas Adar Mar Misimcha, when Adar comes, we have to increase in joy. What is the quality, the spiritual quality of Adar? So if you look in Sefer Yetzirah, one of the most ancient Jewish texts, Sefer Yetzirah speaks about Adar. It relates the month of Adar with the letter Kuf. The letter Kuf is a similar letter to the letter Hey, which is a horizontal line on top and a vertical line to the right and a suspended line to the left. And the difference between the Hey and the Kuf is that the Hey, the line to the left, the suspended line completes itself, ends itself at the same place where the right line ends. And with the letter Kuf, the letter is suspended downward. So the letter Kuf is one of the 12 simple letters. There are 3 mother letters, 7 double letters, and 12 simple letters. And the simple letter of Kuf is related to the month of Adar. We also know, according to the Sefer Yetzirah, that the month of Adar is also related to the influence of Pisces, which is fish, Dagim. Another aspect of the month of Adar is that it's connected with the sense of laughter. According to the Sefer Yetzirah, we know there are 5 senses. Sefer Yetzirah speaks about 12 senses, and one of the senses is that it's a sense of laughter. So we'll just try to understand these 3 ideas: the letter Kuf, the sense of the month which is connected with laughter, and the sign of the month which is Dagim. And of course, we also have to understand a little bit what the name of the month itself, Adar, means. So if we look at the letter Hey and Kuf, we'll see that they're similar letters. And according to the Zohar, the letter Kuf is an imitation letter. In Hebrew, the word Kuf means monkey. And monkey represents, in Talmudic language, monkey represents something that's imitating human form. It imitates the Hey. It's similar to the letter Hey, but it's a little bit different. If we look in the Torah, the two important characters in the beginning of the Torah, which start with the letter Hey and start with the letter Kuf, is Cain and Hevel. Cain and Abel. These 2 characters, in the beginning of the Torah describes these 2 people. And according to the Kabbalistic reading, all people, the Shoresh and the root of the soul, is either from a place of Cain or from a place of Hevel. The difference between Cain and Hevel is that Cain, in terms of their names, is that Cain means kinyon, something that is acquired, tangible, physical. In fact, Cain was a farmer, someone that worked the land. In contrast, Hevel means breath, emptiness, something that's ethereal, philosophical, in the mind. And Hevel, by nature and by trade, was a shepherd. And the difference between a shepherd and a farmer is that a shepherd is nomadic, someone that has no roots in a particular place, and someone that's a farmer is very much rooted in the earth. So Cain is, in Kabbalistic reading, Cain is considered Chacham Tatal, lower wisdom, which is the wisdom of the earth, connected with the ground, connected with the tangible, and Hevel is the ethereal. These are 2 ideas. So Kuf, which also represents Cain, can also, according to the Talmud, this is what the Talmud tells us in the Tractate of Shabbos, Kuf is also related to the word Kedusha. So you have Kedusha, which is holiness, and you have the word Cain, and you have also the word Kof, which means mockery, or something that's mimicking holiness, something that appears to be as holy. So we'll talk about laughter, and then we'll understand these 2 dynamics, these 2 paradigms. When we talk about laughter, there are 2 forms of laughter. And it's interesting that according to Sefer Yetzirah, the month is also connected with the body part, which is the tchol, the spleen. And the spleen, in the Zohar reading, the spleen is connected with laughter. And in Talmudic reading, the spleen is connected with depression. And there's really essentially 2 types of laughter. There's holy laughter and unholy laughter. What is holy laughter? All laughter, essentially, is taking something lightly. So let's say, for example, classic humor is when a person feels threatened or feels small, and a person starts laughing at another person or laughing at the authority or at the local government, or let's say historically, people that were oppressed were laughing at people that were the oppressors. That is because when a person feels inadequate and unpowerful in a certain predicament that they cannot change, they laugh. And that laughter is trying to release them of their form. Whatever the form is, the confinement is, there's a releasing of the form. And then there's a type of laughter which is more a holy laughter. On a deep level, if laughter is the release of form, and that's the definition of laughter, something breaks form, something releases a form, you have two contrasting ideas, and then they come together, a person falls off a chair as an example, that's funny, because normally people sit down on a chair, they should be sitting. When someone falls, that some people may find that as something that's funny. It's unexpected, it's not the result, it's not the linear way of thinking that will happen, and then it's like an explosion, and then there's that idea of laughter. So laughter breaks a person out, releases a person from the form. In laughter itself, we have these two qualities. There's a laughter which becomes cynicism. When a person is completely formless and completely unattached to anything and laughs about anything, eventually the person will become depressed. Because if life has zero meaning and everything is good for a joke and there's nothing sacred in this person's life, so for a while it appears funny, but then it becomes really sad. And that's really what occurs to a lot of people that appear to be very funny and very comedic. Deeply they're suffering from a form of depression, and that sinks a person into depression. Holy laughter is when a person is deeply rooted in a certain sacredness about who they are as people. There's a certain quality of themselves that they're very much attached to, and yet they can be light about that quality. Let's try to think about it in terms of the Kain and Hevel. Hevel represents someone that has no roots. He's somebody, or that quality of somebody, that's completely ethereal, completely detached. Kain represents something that was very deeply rooted. If the month of Adar is about the holiness, the kedusha of the letter Kuf, and connected with the sense of laughter, that type of laughter is a laughter of lo yada, of not knowing. A person knows, they know what they know, and yet they can laugh at what they know because they're not stuck to what they know. And that opens them up and that frees them to a higher form of being. And this is the definition of holy laughter. It's really the synthesis between a Kaya modality, which is very much rooted in the ground, and a Hevel modality, which is very freeing. It's paradoxical, because on one hand you're very deeply rooted, on the other hand you're very free. If you look at the month, the name of the word Adar, Adar means, in Hebrew, means strong, like Adir B'Maram Hashem. In fact, the Talmud speaks about if someone wants to plant their fields and wants to be established, they should plant it during the month of Adar. So on one hand, Adar means something that's very firm. It's mazli gover. It has strong mazel, has strong influence. On the other hand, Adar is the only month of the year that has 2 months, a possibility of 2 months. When it becomes a leap year, we have the 13th month. When it's the 13th month of Adar, we say a mazel. That 13th month represents a time that there is no mazel, which is transcendent of all influences. And the word Adar Kabbalistically stands for Reisha de lo Yada, which is the head that does not know. The head that does not know refers to the spiritual aspect of Keter, of transcendence. So on one hand, Adar is very much deeply rooted, and we're saying Adar is someone that is earthly, someone that if you want to plant your field and you want it to grow, you plant it in the month of Adar. And the other hand, we're saying it does not know. And the deep level of not knowing is not only it doesn't know, or we don't know it, but it doesn't even know itself. How do we translate this? What does this mean? This means our relationship with ourselves, in terms of our relationship, who we are as people. When we want to be joyous, and true joy is freeing from the certain boundaries and constrictions and certain masks that we wear and certain positions that we take, and I'm serious, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, this is who I am. If we take ourselves too seriously and we don't know how to laugh at ourselves, then we're also stuck. If we take ourselves completely non-seriously, then we don't have anything, we're just empty. And Adar is holy laughter. Holy laughter is when I'm attached to a certain version of myself and I can play with that version. I'm deeply rooted like a Kain modality, and yet I'm also Hevel. And that's Kedusha, that's holiness. The holiness is taking yourself in the place that you're rooted and simultaneously reflecting and saying, okay, this part of myself, I know this to be true of who I am, but you know what? Now I can laugh a little bit at this part of me because, you know what, I got too stuck in this story. And that's not who I am. I'm really a free person. And free, by definition, means that I'm my soul, and that's my spiritual quality, which is infinite. And that's why the word schok, which is the Hebrew word for laughter, is 414, the same numeric value as the word Or Ein Sof, infinite light. Because the holy laughter frees us from our confinements, from our forms, from our attachments, such tenacious attachments to our ego, and lets us be light. And that's holy. It's a holy laughter because it's light and yet very much rooted in who we are.